Yeah, dude, for the football games, I would be on the other sideline and they could hear me.
Welcome to Michael J. Bragman Stadium. It's a beautiful day for some more lacrosse. Rob, West Jenny coming to visit now. Obviously a big game, historically speaking, a successful program coming to challenge our CNS North Stars. And obviously the weather looks fantastic. We'll shoot it down to Owen O'Keefe in a moment. But Rob, first your thoughts on the game.
Well, Kyle, as you know, this year West Jenny started out 1-3, and they're on a down year. Usually, they are the team to beat in the section, and this year they're just not bringing it. So I'm very curious to see how CNS approaches this, knowing West Jenny's not on their game this year, but they're still such a historic franchise.
Absolutely. Nonetheless, still some perfect vibes down in the field. Now would be the perfect moment to throw it down to our sideline reporter for tonight, Owen O'Keefe. Owen, how are the vibes down in the field, and what is the weather looking like for our game tonight?
He's going to move down to the high 40s as the sun goes down. Some light wind, but the edge out here is immaculate. These CNS boys seem ready to go take down this West Jenny team. I'm excited to see what comes. Back up to you guys.
Thank you, Owen. That was Owen O'Keefe down on the sideline for us tonight. It'll be exciting to throw it down to him because these boys are fired up, to say the least. We'll be right back for some national anthem action, of course, the starting lineups. Welcome back to Michael J. Bragman Stadium. It's game day. The CNS North Stars 2-1 versus the 1-3 West Genesee Wildcats visiting Michael J. to put on a performance for us tonight. As I mentioned before, West Genesee, a historically successful program, and it's certainly going to be a clash of styles offensively and defensively, to say the least. And a guy that could be perfect to break that down for us right now is Riley Kennedy, our analyst, a former CNS Lax midi, and of course, brother of current player Brody Kennedy. Riley, what do you see analytically tonight that could be interesting for the North Stars?
This game is an historical game. For West Genny, I mean, they're a historical team, but for CNS, it's something different. They have blood. They can taste it. This West Genny team's 1-3 tonight. CNS is coming in at 2-1. You don't see West Genny ever. I mean, Rob will touch about it later in the game, but West Genny hasn't started off 1-4 since 1960. 1967 was their last losing season. But my keys to the game for CNS, the ball needs to run through Anthony Cimino on offense. The senior attackman who's committed to St. Bonaventure. He's got the most assists on the team. Cimino has 55% of this team's assists. They need to effectively clear the ball to their offense, get their offensive personnel on the field, defense off. And how do they deal with the invert from West Genny that we'll see here? And for West Genny, who steps up on offense? And can they get into the passing lanes on defense and stop Cimino from feeding the ball into the middle of the field?
Absolutely, and CNS wins the first faceoff, certainly key for tonight. In our previous game here at home at Michael J. Bragman Stadium, Aiden Long went out, essentially that faux go for CNS, although he stayed on the field plenty. And with that, a lot of faceoffs were lost afterward, but Kubala getting the win right there, and we're going to start it with number 1, Elijah Martin, manning the offense.
And Kyle, like Riley mentioned earlier, West Genny, if they lose this game tonight, this is their first time going 1-4 since 1967. And that just shows how amazing this program has been throughout the years. And 15 state titles to their name when they first started playing in 1957. So if you're CNS, you know you're getting a competition no matter what.
Absolutely. I mean, the CNS North Stars, historically speaking, are always, a hard-working squad. That's kind of the work ethic you develop being a North Star, and it's evident here early on as Mason Ciscerelli and company having a fast-paced offense to start it off.
Yeah, this CNS offense, this is what you're going to look for. This motion offense kind of starts right up top with Tyler Mazzoli right here. He's going to try to dodge down the alley and get that to Anthony Cimino as he feeds right in there, pass controlled by Leahy. But this is what their offense is. It's a motion. They try to do a two-man game, and the ball turns over right over to West Genny as I'm speaking.
And a defensive stand for West Genny to start off the game. That's kind of their man offense that was previously described by an interview with Coach Sean Smith that we had before the game. Quite a character he is, certainly a stoic man. And, obviously a leader of a historically successful squad. Only his second year as varsity coaches. We get a ball picked in the midfield by number 14, Nolan Firth, the leader of that defense for the North Stars.
Kyle, Nolan Firth, a guy who we can see come out of the defense and make plays happen. And the first home game against FM here, he went coast to coast and scored, really keeping that CNS FM game tight, which sadly got out of CNS's reach in the late fourth quarter.
Meanwhile, R.J. Davis passing over to the midfield with Elijah Martin. R.J. Davis, a guy who can catch plenty of minutes in the midfield, one of those D-middies that they'll certainly need tonight.
This is where you're looking for at Anthony Cimino with the new guy, Leahy, coming out of the box. This is the motion offense I'm talking about. He's going to sweep right cross. See if he can get anything.
Lost stick, and he snipes it. What a way to start it. Speak of the devil, Riley Kennedy. Wow, what a way to start it. Rob, what did you see there?
Well, right there you just see Ian take it to the hole. He runs that motion offense that Riley's been talking about all night, and he gets inside, and you see the West Genny player lose his stick, and Ian knows, hey, I got time to shoot it, and he fires it into the back of the net.
I'm going to take you through that play. So Cimino had it down in this right side. He saw Leahy coming in from the box. Leahy had the whole left side of the field to work with. That's just a typical sweep from the 30-yard line. He's running east to west, and then Rays gets in the middle field. It's north to south, all downhill for Leahy. No one's in his way. It's a one-on-one matchup, and Leahy wins that every single time. He's lefty.
Everything abuzz here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium. What a way to start it. Ian Leahy, one of the younger faces on the field, not afraid to get right into the action. Anthony Cimino, a little quiet to start, wasn't the man to feed the ball, which is odd to see a guy who usually feeds the goals about 1 out of 4 times, a statistic Riley dropped on us before the game, which is just absolutely mind-blowing. So expect to see him later tonight. But for now, West Genny finally getting their first offensive possession.
Yeah, Cimino, CNS now has 40 goals on the season. Going into tonight, it was 39 goals on the season. Cimino had assisted on 28% of those goals, a quarter of those goals.
Meanwhile, ball ripped over the head of captain Giovanni Heater. West Genesee will clean things up, and they'll start at X. Rolling up the right side. And
That's
you hear
Alex Rosa. That's a matchup that we're going to be looking for all tonight. Firth versus Rosa. They're going to be teammates over at Hobart.
absolutely, just as I was about to say, two teammates bound for Hobart College, a D1 lacrosse school, and certainly historically successful in and of itself. But for now, competing on the field tonight, it's going to be a great matchup, as Riley Kennedy already mentioned. And we're hearing the chirps already. Come on, Nolan, let's get it. And, you know, he's one of those leaders of that defensive squad. And, you know, as Rob, you mentioned it beforehand, a guy who can go coast to coast and put a goal away is certainly an exciting player. But I think it's going to be an important matchup, to say the least, tonight against Rosa. How pivotal do you think it is for Nolan to close things out on Rosa tonight, Riley?
I think for Rosa, what we're going to look for is Rosa likes to – he played Orange Crush. He's a guy that's going to start dodging at X. He's going to try to get to goal line extended 2 steps, 1-2 steps above goal line extended. He's going to fire that cross cage. So we got to see if Gio can save those. Gio's a left-handed goalie, which you don't normally see kind of in the section. They're normally right-handed. So for Rosa, that's a harder matchup to do. But Nolan just has to stay on his hips, drive him out, and lift up on his bottom hand as he's going to shoot from X.
Meanwhile, Udumul for the West Genesee Wildcats trying to break past Nolan Firth. Now on the right side.
And Kyle, change we see with Nolan Firth tonight is usually he runs short stick. Tonight he's elected to go with the long stick. We might see him switch throughout the game, but definitely might be a decision based off him going up against his future teammate, Alex Rosa.
Meanwhile, West Genesee taking more time. Movement on the top. You see Joe Green matched up on there. Looking
After they
low.
draw the slide.
As Riley Kennedy stated there, getting the slide. Moving to his left horizontally, you have to have those guys shift quick, and the defense has looked fast to do so early on.
With a fast break, it's important for Semino. He's trying to tell Leahy where to go. That's a triangle, so that's 4-on-3 on offense. Leahy's got to hit Semino. Semino's going to try to draw a slide, and Semino's going to dump it back to one of the corners to try to score that.
Now to the inside, Leahy bobbled. Semino picking it up. No, that's West Genesee, the long stick getting it. And a little buddy pass to the backside, but they'll retain possession. That was number 16 for West Genesee, Jack Garvey, cleaning up the mess. Now up the field. To the right side, a little bit of space.
The ride's important for CNS. Typically in years past, the attackmen have to be aggressive, and they have to be hungry when riding this ball. They have to get it back from West Jenny. This West Jenny team's not as good as we've already mentioned in years past. We have to see if they can ride effectively.
Meanwhile, a shot ripped past the right side of Giovanni Heater, trying to get the get-back call, but West Genesee will retain possession, so back into the right side. That's number 14, Joseph Delaney, handling the ball at the top. Little spin move action. Leahy is not phased. Ripped to the right side. Deflected away. Left leg of Giovanni Heater looking bigger than usual tonight, and they'll get the call. CNS possession.
That's hustle. That is just hustle. The guy towards who can get to the ball first as it touches out of bounds, and Nolan was there. Nolan Firth.
Who else but Nolan Firth to start off another offensive possession, getting those stands already against Alex Rosa and company for the West Genesee Wildcats. Meanwhile, quickly up the left side. Out to Semino.
And Kyle, as Riley touched on earlier, Semino, a guy who you can find inside, and we don't see him shoot a lot, but he finds the bottom corner there. I was just going to mention his assist.
Speak of the devil, Semino rolling into the right side. He has quick feet and quick hands, too. Puts it past the right side of the goalie. Rob, as you were saying.
I was going to mention his assists and how we see him lack a shooting ability. He can shoot, and all the guys on the team always say he's one of our best shooters. He just doesn't elect to, and he's more the assist guy on the team, and I was going to mention the assist as he just goes and proves me wrong with a goal, Kyle.
Make us eat our words, but previously on that possession, Riley, I saw you nodding your head in disgust. Any plays or ball movement you didn't like out of CNS in that possession specifically?
Really what that came down to was kind of what I touched up on earlier. I think that backside guy behind X for CNS, not sure who it was, just could have kept coming towards him. He could have fed him really. It's a backdoor kind of doorstep goal. I just thought he could have come to the goal. It's kind of a 4-on-3. It was a close situation, but I think they still could have capitalized off of that.
Meanwhile, a back check not called, but CNS will retain possession. Captain Giovanni Heater will run it up the field. Oh, ball bobbled in the midfield. Small things you can afford not to do against the West Genesee Wildcats. Quickly up the field, deep hole ripping, and Giovanni Heater makes easy work of that save to his left side.
Kyle, Giovanni Heater, a guy we know personally in the booth, and we saw him have a great game against FM, only giving up less than half of the shots he was faced against, and he's doing great here tonight.
Meanwhile, another shot ripped out to the right side. CNS will not get the goal. Nonetheless, 2-0 with 5 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Semino trying to get the get back, but West Genesee will retain possession.
This is one of my keys to the game. Can CNS ride here and get the ball back before they get it over the 50-yard line? They need to close the gaps.
4.5 to go. West Genesee struggling to get the ball upfield, and it's knocked away.
Here the sideline. They're so energetic.
You have to love the energy. Now Semino cleaning up the mess. And chirps for Nolan Firth once again. Semino rolling out to the spot he seems to like so much on the left side of that goalkeeper, just outside the crease. Meanwhile, to the inside, spinning around, tries to get the shot.
Mason Blakeman really rushed that one there. I thought he had a lot more time to keep that ball and maybe swing it around the 18 and, you know, just get some more space for his team, but he elects to shoot, and it's an easy save for number 12, Bryce Landry.
He rolled too early on that. What you have to do, one of the things that I always learned, when you're doing a dodge, you have to do it within like 5 yards. You can't do it so close to the person's stick. Right there, Blakeman he rolled too soon on the defenseman, and there was nowhere to go. He just should have, like you said, swung the ball up top.
Meanwhile, Nick Louise rolling that ball up the left sideline, now to the top. Trying to create some space, looking for the movement, right side. That's number 7 for West Genesee. Patrick Linton ripping it over the top. Giovanni Heater looking very comfortable in goal already.
Patrick Linton's a player that Coach Sean Smith told us to watch out for. Orange Crush guy.
Oh, and a pass to the inside, and they make quick work of it. 2-1. CNS still leads, but West Genesee making a stance to quickly claw their way back. Riley, what did you see there?
That was Patrick Linton. That was Patrick Linton, and what it was the slide kind of had gone. He was wide open in the middle of the field, and he just finished that. Right-handed player, he was just sitting right there. And that's one of the things that he's inside, because it's too hard for Heater to save those balls when it's just a doorstep kind of goal like that.
Speak of the devil again, Kubala trying to get the face-off win. Instead, West Genesee will roll right back upfield. So Patrick Linton, just as we mentioned, putting the goal away. And now a chance for West Genesee to tie it up. Ball bobbled in the midfield. Some small mental errors already. Now rolling past the defender, and another shot. All of a sudden, it's tied up. You have to be quick to stay tight against West Genesee.
And right there, we see Joseph Delaney just step inside and use the open space he finds inside that uncollapsed CNS defense, as Riley touched on earlier. They need to collapse inside, and CNS doesn't again, and Joseph Delaney able to find the back of the net.
Absolutely, and Rob, as you and I have heard as soccer teammates under Coach McCaffrey here at CNS, goalies would eat up their players on those plays. You cannot afford to let guys just roll right out into the top of the crease right there. What do you think the defense allowed right there in that play, Riley, that allowed them to just advance simply right on top of the crease?
That was straight downhill, north to south. It was a perfect play by Delaney. But what CNS tries to do, and talking to Coach Gatto, they try to force West Genny and any of their opponents down the alley. That's something in years past that CNS has not done, and they force players to the middle of the goal. But Delaney, that's a straight just downhill, put his head down, looked up at the right time, and scored that goal. Nobody slid to that.
Meanwhile, Semino trying to get the assist with Martin rolling to the right side of the crease, but that one put just past the goalkeeper. Some hustle in the backfield, but West Genesee will retain possession. Bryce Landry had kind of replicating, in a sense, the pressure that he just felt from his counterparts down in the field. Ooh, the check in the midfield. Look at the emphatic defense and the energy on the sideline. Number 5 for West Genesee, Nick Louise, having a hard time.
Elijah Martin's going to get called there, but maybe that's a statement, Kyle. He's just trying to make sure he knows he's there. Just tell the guy, hey, I'm here. We're here all night. A lot of hard cross checks there, puts the guy on the ground, and that might be a statement for CNS here.
Look at the sideline. There's no coach that's mad with that play. Elijah Martin would just had his head up. That was a defense, but he was too high on that. So they're gonna call him. They're gonna call him for a cross check on that. But that was good defense. But he leaned up too high with his stick. If we had replay, you would see that his stick slid up high right into the guys in that area.
Absolutely. Nonetheless, a statement just as Rob said. The concept of letting them know you're there, so important in almost every sport, but man is important for lacrosse.
One of the most important things on that last play was CNS was riding. And I always keep mentioning years past, but this is a different CNS team only because, I mean, it's coached by different players, but you have guys who played in a varsity game before this season, Nolan Firth, Anthony Semino, Mason Blakeman, and Tyler Mazzoli. 4 guys that had played varsity lacrosse before this season. So you didn't really see riding before, now you do.
Now ripped to the left side of Giovanni Heater, but put away in the middle. Another deflection, Gio with the save. Ball deflected out to the left side, fighting for possession. It will stay with West Genesee.
How comfortable do you have to feel if you're the CNS defense knowing Giovanni Heater is protecting the net behind you?
Absolutely. I mean, as I mentioned before, Rob, you and I, soccer teammates, it's certainly like having Wyatt in goal. Wyatt Dupella, a young sophomore for the CNS soccer team, and he's also been a stud in goal. But Giovanni Heater as a senior, just so much more leadership on the field.
Oh.
Rolling to the inside.
In the inside.
And that 5-hole exposed Giovanni Heater. Another tough play left right on top of the crease. Tough to tell who put that one away with a jumble of athletes right on top of the crease that time. Rob, what did you see there?
Yeah, Kyle, Braden McNeil right there does a great job at getting inside his defender on top of the crease and just shooting that one low where Gio has no time to react to his bottom corner.
Tough play right there. You have to wonder who was defending that man. Rolling to his right side, no one slid, and unfortunately it was right on top of the crease. Puts it just past the left side, if not the 5-hole of Giovanni Heater. That's 2 plays now that his defense has let him down and put a man right on top of the crease for him to try and make a one-on-one. Meanwhile, a war for the ball in the midfield. It'll pop out, and Elijah Martin fighting for it, but West Genesee will pick it up.
That was a good heads-up play for McNeil. He just did a simple inside roll, and Joe Green had given him that. He exposed too much of that inside that McNeil just did kept it all with his right hand. And just a simple inside roll and scored right on. The goals that CNS have been giving up this season have been the inside, right on the front door, as I referenced, the front door right in the middle of the crease, right on the front of the crease. So that's something that CNS just needs to collapse on defense. There was no help. But he did give him that inside roll.
Meanwhile, Ian Leahy finding an alley right up the top of the hole. He rips it over the top. CNS will retain possession nonetheless. Semino to take it out of the backfield. But a good offensive start.
Kyle, Ian Leahy, a guy coming into the game, tied with 2 other players on his team, Mason Ciscerelli and Mason Blakeman, for 10 goals on the season.
Now Elijah Martin to the inside, fed by Anthony Semino, but Bryce Landry there to make the play.
You have to run through Semino. Semino's mad about that one. They almost got a goal before the end of the first quarter, but that was a heads-up play from Semino, and Elijah Martin cutting straight down to him. That's that motion offense. That's that offense being run around offense. Semino has so many games and experience. Semino will find you if you're open. And if he throws it off your helmet, he throws it off his helmet. But he will find you if you're open. That's why he leads his team in assists and leads the league in assists.
Now we apologize for some of the technical difficulties with Riley Kennedy's microphone. Unfortunately, coming in and out a little bit, but giving us some of the great analysis with Semino being the leader of that offense. And, of course, now at the end of the quarter, 3-2 lead for West Genesee. CNS starting 2-0. I think now would be a perfect time to throw it down to our sideline reporter, Owen O'Keefe. How is the energy in that CNS sideline knowing they're right in the middle of this game?
That first goal for the North Stars, it was electric down here, and then Semino got that second one. They thought they had a great game going. You know, West Jenny got 2 straight, and then Elijah Martin, when they were man down, they got the one in right before Elijah Martin went back in. It's just tough. You know, I'd like to see what the North Stars do in this second quarter and close out this half. Let's finish strong, North Stars.
Thank you, Owen. That was Owen O'Keefe, our sideline report. The energy is just fantastic down there in the stadium. Now, with CNS down by 1 goal, obviously some defensive stands did not go in their favor. What changes do you think Joe Green and Nolan Firth and company have to make in order to ensure that those guys aren't left right on top of the crease of Giovanni Heater?
Well, Kyle, you know, just moving guys to the outside. Right now, they've really been giving that inside role, and as Riley's been saying, they're just capitalizing on it. So Nolan and Joe Green, Josh Kubala, another defender, they just have to start forcing guys outside and not letting them step inside and get that bottom corner finish.
Riley, what did you see?
I like I said with Peter, he's not giving up those outside goals, which is important. He's giving up the things that CNS needs to capitalize on defense, and they need to just collapse on the inside. I think the defensemen are doing a good job for CNS. I just think the slides maybe need to come earlier. I don't think CNS defense is playing bad at all.
We apologize. Riley Kennedy's mic beginning to give up on us a little bit right now, but nonetheless, some technical standpoints that Rob and I would not be able to give you with our lack of knowledge of the sport of lacrosse. Of course, him and I learning adamantly, and what a beautiful sport it is, and a beautiful day to play it. Ian Leahy to start it off for the North Stars. Looking to rip to his left side. Now to the inside. Ooh, off the pipe. Just tipped by Bryce Landry, but man, that one nearly found its way in. That would have been quite the equalizer with 11 to go here in the second quarter.
Kyle, Elijah Martin finds himself with some time there and elects to shoot and just a centimeter lower, and that ties this game up for CNS. So I honestly like to see him keep firing and trying to find the back of the net.
Absolutely a game of inches this sport is, especially how fast these guys are moving up and down the field with these shots. Meanwhile, West Genesee trying to make a stand against Ian Leahy and company in the midfield.
Back on that last play with Elijah Martin, he had time and space. And a lot of coaches will reference that. Time and space is key to the game of lacrosse. And he was open, he had time, and he could shoot that ball.
Meanwhile, a shot ripped over to the right side. CNS will retain possession. Sponge, that mic isn't coming through at all now. Now to start it off, Anthony Semino at X. Looking for number 7, Mason Blakeman, who rips it just past the right side. And West Genesee will get the ball. So a long defensive stand for the Wildcats, and finally a shot for them to put it in the back of the opposing team's net. Bryce Landry communicating. Now the whistle blows, and West Genesee up the field. It's number 14 for West Genesee, Joseph Delaney, putting it upfield. Going back to Bryce Landry, you see that midfield pressure already making it difficult for the Wildcats to find some space. They only have so much time to get it past that 30. Now to the right side, down a man, 2-on-3, but that pass to the inside deflected away by Nolan Firth.
Always finish your plays. Nolan Firth finished the play right there.
Like Riley said, great hustle play right there from Nolan Firth, knowing he has to get back and just poking that ball away to not let West Jenny get that open shot.
And thank God that Mike is finally coming back through for Riley Kennedy, because he's been feeding us some pivotal information. I mean, again, with that lacrosse knowledge, Riley Kennedy, a former CNS Lax player, and of course, current brother of Brody Kennedy, a midi on this team that we'll surely see a little bit tonight. Meanwhile, a shot ripped over to the right side. Man, just as I was talking, I certainly did not expect that one, excuse me, but all of a sudden we're all equal here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium.
Mason Ciscerelli with a beautiful finish on the side of the crease there, just finding the lower corner of the goal and rifling that one into the back of the net.
Another backdoor shot, and all of a sudden we're all tied up.
That was good defense from West Jenny. It was amazing defense, and Mason Ciscerelli just took one step back and shot that ball. That's a hard shot. That is a hard shot that Mason Ciscerelli just made, but now the score is 3-3. CNS is right where they need to be.
Ciscerelli finding the spot he needed, and all of a sudden, some electrifying energy that we needed.
Offsides, he's got to go. Mason Blakeman's got to go. He's got to go.
The pressure is on West Genesee. Meanwhile, the ball pops out.
So on a play like that, when the offsides occurs, Mason Blakeman, for example, he has to go. I mean, it only helps. He's not going to stay. So when that offsides flag is thrown, you might as well just go so you can get the dead ball situation. You can get to the box as soon as possible.
Absolutely just a small mental gaffe. That offsides call.
That was hustle, though. That was hustle from Mason Blakeman, and he tried to get it. That's one of those plays that you see that it's probably West Jenny's going to get it over the 50-yard line. You probably don't need a ride like that. But like I said, you wouldn't see rides like this in years past, and Mason Blakeman did that right there.
Meanwhile, a rip shot deflected away. West Genesee still maintaining possession. Now out to X. To the top. Looking for a cutting man. Instead, they'll rip it to the back of the net. These shots have been back and forth, but man, look at the velocity on that one. All of a sudden, it's a 4-3 game. West Genesee leads with 9 to go here in the second quarter.
And Kyle, that's Alex Rosa, a guy who we've been mentioning all night. He's very lethal on the inside for this offense, and So they're taking that away, and they give him the outside, and he just takes his time and finds the back of the net.
Absolutely. Riley, you mentioned earlier, Rosa is Nolan Firth's man. What happened there?
Nolan Firth was actually on the opposite side of the ball. They had been switched. Nolan Firth had deflected that one last shot. I'm not sure who the defenseman was on that play. Something had switched. And Rosa, like I said, with Elijah Martin, when he hit the crossbar at the end of the first quarter, time and space. Time and space.
Now balls poked back and forth, and West Genesee will maintain possession off the faceoff. Quickly up the field.
Look for Rosa to do damage more. He hasn't taken Firth once yet this game, but it's a matchup that we're looking for. One of the best matchups you'll actually see in Section 3.
As Riley said, one of the best matchups you'll see in Section 3. Nolan Firth switched on there, and another shot ripped, and Gio makes easy work of that one as well. So maintaining that 50% save percentage. That certainly has to be on the top of that leaderboard for Section 3 athletics. And now Anthony Semino with the ball, rolling out to X. Oh, and a misplay. You just can't afford to do that. That'll go out the sideline, West Genesee ball.
You have to run through your passes. Kind of a lazy pass. You have to run through your passes, and Semino should just finish that. That's an easy pass you can make to Blakeman right there on that backside.
Absolutely, a play you simply cannot afford to do against West Genesee. As I mentioned, a historically successful team. 15 of their 22 state titles ended up in their favor since 1957, so that's successful to say the least. And we all see it here. I mean, there's just so much history between these teams, but, just focusing on West Genny, you see the knee-high socks that we can get into later, but for now, making another stand, that's number 7 at the top for West Genesee. Patrick Linton trying to make a play happen. Look at the defensive stand from number 5 for CNS, R.J. Davis. Ball ripped wide.
Kyle, R.J. Davis, a guy who's going to Cortland to run, and he decided to follow his passion and play lacrosse this year, so we're very happy to see him playing the game he loves and having a great time out there on the field.
Us guys here in the studio know RJ all too well. I've ran track with him, and I've really been friends with him for so long. The community here in Cicero, New York is beautiful, especially with guys like him around. Now to the top, ripping low. Gio trying to get the get-back call, but West Genesee will maintain possession.
That's what you want. That's what you want on defense. That's a perfect executed defense right there, possession. I mean, you're not making a 15-yard shot. That's the shots that CNS is willing to give up. That's also why Gio's save percentage is around 50% on the season.
Meanwhile, West Genesee ripping another shot. The ball movement looking fantastic thus far, and with those guys cutting to the top of the crease, they seem to find them 10 out of 10 times. Nonetheless, no goals put away in this offensive possession, And back out to Patrick Linton to slow things down.
See if he sweeps it. Dodging down the alley. He'll shoot anywhere.
And he does, just over the right crossbar. Another reset for West Genesee. 6:40 to go here in the second quarter. 1-goal ball game in favor of the West Genesee Wildcats. You see Nolan Firth in the backfield. Rosa trying to make a move. Look at that footwork, rolling out to the right side, but he slips. And now Joe Green coming behind. They get the switch. No, Firth still back on Rosa.
Invert. This is the invert that we're looking for. Watch. Nolan has to switch it because you don't want that guy in the crease to be open. They execute that perfectly. They caught it before it actually happened.
As Riley mentions, the invert offense getting those mismatches they needed for Rosa to be open. Now to the inside. You have to imagine looking for Rosa. No.
Good save.
A great save by Giovanni Heater to the right side. You have to imagine where that cutting man went. Instead, Gio, one-on-one, a brick wall. Now Nolan Firth quickly up the field. We've seen him put a goal away like this before. Not afraid to get into that offensive quarter of the field.
Nolan Firth, very dangerous in these positions. He's a very quick guy, and with that lawn stick, it's very hard to get the ball off him. So very dangerous when he gets up the field.
Looks like a timeout is called.
He got pinned. He got pinned on the sideline. He's a long stick. He doesn't play offense, and that's a smart timeout from Gatto. It's
Absolutely.
a smart timeout from Gatto.
So with that offensive effort from Nolan Firth getting pinned on the sideline, Coach Gatto will elect to talk things over. I think now would be a perfect time to throw it down to Owen O'Keefe, our sideline reporter. The energy is fantastic. Still a close ball game here in the second quarter. What are you seeing in the mentality of these young men there on the North Star sideline, Owen?
Want to stick with it. They want to keep that pace they've got going in that first quarter and then those 3 goals in the first half so far. The pace is the biggest thing when I've talked to these few players like Ian Leahy and others, and Caleb Martin also. The pace. And West Jenny, their attack is great. They just got to keep attacking Giovanni Heater and keep drinking those goals in. Send it back up to you, Kyle.
Thank you, Owen. Quite the effort Giovanni Heater has had. A lot of men left on top of his crease thus far. A 4-3 ball game in favor of the West Genesee Wildcats. 5.5 to go here in the second quarter, and both men have been back and forth now. Coach Nick Gatto certainly has to be fuming with his squad. A lot of defensive efforts just not falling in their favor after starting with a 2-zip lead. What changes do you think Coach Gatto will have to do in order to reel these guys in and make sure that defense is on the top of their game, Riley?
Defense, I think it's actually the offense. I think that, like I said, I don't think the offense is clicking as they're getting their open shots. But I guess for the defense, they just need to keep playing the way they are. 3 of the 4 goals have come right from the inside. So CNS hasn't really done a bad job at defense. I think they can do a better job on offense. I think they need to, last possession, Semino had thrown the ball away. Those are the careless things that CNS can't do if they're going to win this ball game.
And Riley, I completely agree with you. What I was going to mention was CNS just needs to limit these turnovers on offense. They've given the ball away way too easy, too many times early on in this game, and we saw them score 2 right off the bat. But since then, they've really been lackadaisical on offense.
This is the 2-man game that they're going to – so they're going to send their midfielders high. Semino's going to drive, and midfielders have to cut down to see if they're open.
Watch for those cutting men to the inside. Ian Leahy catching a stick on his shot. That one over the top. CNS will maintain possession. In the meantime, Bryce Landry had a great save just previously. Mason Blakeman again getting right on top of that crease. A bouncing save, one of the toughest saves to make in lacrosse. So tough to read that ball off the turf, especially the Michael J. Bragman Stadium turf. All 3 of us have had experience with it. It's quite the stadium to play on, but that turf is quite bouncy. Rob, you've certainly seen it with soccer, and Riley, you've absolutely seen it with lacrosse. But how awesome it must be to just be down on that field in such a great stadium. I mean, really to compare, this stadium pales in comparison to some, large D1 schools. But, man, this is the same level as some college stadiums. How awesome was it for you guys? Excuse me, I'm trying to develop a story, but the North Star is saying otherwise. All of a sudden, it's a tie ball game.
And right there, we see that 2-man offense that Riley's been reiterating on all game. And you see the midfielder, Mason Ciscerelli, who's actually an attackman, but switched out to the midfield, cut inside, and he's found and just is able to put that one away on top of the crease.
Anthony Semino will find you if you're open. That's exactly what happened there, like Rob said. Ciscerelli, an attackman, played a little bit higher as a midfielder, came cutting right down. Everybody got out of Semino's way. He'll find you if you're open. Just cut with your head up.
Man, I'm trying to develop a story on how awesome it is to play at Michael J. Bragman Stadium, but Semino says otherwise, and a goal put away at the top of the crease for the North Stars. All of a sudden, it's a 4-4 ball game, guys. Now West Genesee rolling up the right side. That's Joe Green defending.
I think CNS can do better on the face-offs. I think that's one thing that we could see that CNS could do better. Obviously hard with no Aiden Long.
Now R.J. Davis on top of number 14, for the West Genesee Wildcats, Joseph Delaney. Now back out to the top. Ian Leahy having a tough time. Back to the inside, ball bobbled. Certainly an opportunity to pull a goal away. But West Genesee, too excited, turned their heads early. That was number 14, Joseph Delaney, turning his head early on that ball right there. Now back out to the right side. Rolling through X. Look for the cutting man. BTB deflected away. Giovanni Heater fighting for it, and he'll get the save.
Yeah, I'll bring up that play. Some people argue, why did Rosa shoot that behind his back? You have a better angle of shooting it behind your back. He just opened up all of his angles if you shoot it behind the back, because if he were to stop and shoot that right-handed, he really has no angle. Shooting behind the back brings all the angle of the goal.
Meanwhile, Joseph Green making an effort to get the ball upfield, showing off that footwork. And they do. Ian Leahy cleaning up the mess.
Ian Leahy right there with a beautiful heads-up play. Joe Green having to get rid of that one to get rid of and avoid that over-the-back call, as Ian Leahy's able to pick up the ball and just strip it out of the West Jenny player's stick and able to keep it for CNS.
Meanwhile, The ball given up, fast break, as Riley mentions, for the West Genesee Wildcats.
You know, I'm surprised they actually held that.
So am I. Number 5, Nick Louise, electing to slow things down. One of the captains of that Wildcat offense.
Yeah, started as a sophomore. He's going to Lemoyne. Played for one historical team to another historical team.
And Josh Kubala putting that man down. He'll get the ball upfield.
Josh Kubala, a guy we have to mention. 3-sport athlete with swimming, football, and lacrosse. Used to play basketball, used to play a little soccer. He really does it all, and he's an absolute machine on the field.
Meanwhile, that was a spinning effort from number 20, Mike Kohler, up the field.
You hear the coach saying there's no hot guy. A midfielder's got to dodge here because there's no slide coming.
Now out to Elijah Martin for the North Stars. At the top. Ooh, spin move, creates some space to the inside, but the ball poked away. Flags on the play.
Elijah Martin, a guy who's very quick on his feet, as you see there, and he's amazing at drawing these fouls. He spins out away from guys and always gets slashed or checked in the back and draws so many fouls for CNS.
One of the smaller players on the field, but so fast. And with that, I mean, the quick footwork certainly allows for plays that when he creates that small separation, these guys feel the urge to get that stick out, and some slashing calls certainly, ensue because of so. That's a great observation by my color commentator, Robert Bateman.
Something we call a two-way player. Elijah Martin's a two-way player. He plays offense and defense. And it's something you don't really see sometimes. You see they try to switch out to get their offensive guys in there, their defensive guys in there. Elijah Martin's a two-way player. He plays it all. It's important to this team.
Meanwhile, Blakeman out to Martin, Just so excited to see him on the field. Now to the inside, and they put it over the top.
Ciscerelli's got a hat trick.
Like you said, Riley, Mason Ciscerelli with his third right there. He's done a great job tonight at cutting inside and receiving the ball at the top of the crease and just finding the back of the net.
And who else but Semino to feed the man who put his third goal away tonight. 3 of 5 goals already, and CNS leads 5-4 with 2 to go here in the second quarter.
Ciscerelli's got 14 goals on the season. He leads his team in goals.
Man, every time I'm trying to develop a story, these guys just want to interrupt with some sort of action.
CNS really working their way back into that game after, going up early and then falling behind, just to come out and, after me and Riley criticizing the offense, just completely prove us wrong in this second quarter.
Just too exciting of a team to slow down the pace of this broadcast for. They always have something to say. See guys rushing off the field.
Yellow, they're trying to slow things down on CNS's side.
Hard to slow down these guys, especially when Blakeman's out there and Semino with the quick footwork. Now out to the top. That's Kohler. Out to Ian Leahy. Rolling to the left side. He has quick footwork too. To the inside, ripping just over the top. Semino couldn't clean it up, and neither could Landry. That ball out of bounds, but it'll maintain possession for the North Stars. So who else but the captain, Anthony Semino, to take it out of the backfield instead of timeout. 1.5 to go, a 5-4 lead for the CNS North Stars. Coach Nick Gatto elects to talk things over with his squad. 90 seconds to go, as aforementioned, and a lot of things to figure out. But, while they're hot, why is this a good time to take that timeout, Riley?
It's a good time to take a timeout because you got 5-4, minute and a half in the game. You really can use the rest of the clock if you want. If they get a good opportunity, they obviously go to the goal. What I think is going to happen is Semino's going to start with the ball, and they're going to work it around. Try to look at their matchups, who do they like, and then they're going to attack. They're going to throw it up to the midfielders. Someone's going to dodge, try to draw a slide. If not, keep moving it. Semino's going to get the ball, try to get everybody high, cut down. Probably going to try to get a goal here as soon as possible.
And, Rob, with this timeout, obviously a lot of things for them to talk over, but mentally, what do you think they have to be thinking coming into this possession to draw out the clock and really put this goal away in order to separate?
Well, Kyle, lacrosse is a game where you can really score quick, and I think this is a great timeout from Coach Nick Gatto. He knows he's getting 2 more going into the second half, so he uses it right here, and he gets the opportunity to draw up a play for his team and maybe go into this half 6-4 if they're able to put this one away. Absolutely.
Man, am I glad to have these guys to my side. Some observations I'm certainly not picking up on yet. lacrosse, such a beautiful sport to play here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium. As I mentioned before, I was trying to develop a story on the turf and what it's like to play on such a beautiful stadium, and then all of a sudden Semino wants to get some action going, Ciscerelli, Ian Leahy. I mean, these guys are just so fast-paced for a sport where you can kind of slow things down and choose to relax and draw things out, and it's just so exciting to watch these North Stars play, especially now that they're 2-1, looking to advance to 3-1. The Wildcats starting off a little bit slower than expected at 1-3. They could certainly end up 1-4 tonight with the way the North Stars are starting off this ball game.
And Kyle, this is definitely a big matchup to mention, with CNS coming into this game third in the section, with West Jenny just behind them in fourth. So a win for either of these teams can be massive to keep moving them forward in the standings.
I want to see Blakeman get involved on this play. I really do. I want to see him get involved. He does have a long 6C. Maybe he can invert, try to pick up a shorty. I want to see him get involved before this halftime. It kind of gives him momentum and the team momentum going into half. They're going to move it around and try to kill as much time as they think.
And speak of the devil, Mason Blakeman running the ball through the backfield.
Getting involved, like Riley said.
Now
Watch
to the
him. He's
top.
behind Dex. He's going to try to sneak. Ciscerelli and Blakeman right behind Dex.
You see Leahy cutting into the middle as well. Back out to Martin.
He's got the whole slot. I don't even see help.
Takes a peek over the left shoulder, seeing he's got 50 seconds to go. Time to speed things up. Semino on the left side of Bryce Landry. Now to Kohler. Or Mason Ciscerelli, excuse me. Now number 19, Tyler Mazzoli, will take his time with the ball.
He's going to go downhill. North-south. He has to. Right-handed.
Guys, 30 seconds on the clock. You'd have to assume they're going to start looking for an option inside here soon.
And they do.
That's
all
what
just
they're
hit
looking
away. Mason Ciscerelli couldn't handle it. Semino picks it back up. The clock ticking. Back out to Ian Leahy. He'll slow things down. If not, he's going north to south. Spinning to his left side. Right on top of Landry now. The shot just deflected away. Semino picking things up.
5 seconds on the clock here, Kyle. You're going to assume there's going to be a shot here early.
Oh, just to the inside. They couldn't put away. The clock will buzz, and it's a 5-4 ball game. CNS trying to extend in their final possession. A great timeout beforehand by Nick Gatto, but nonetheless, only a 1-goal lead. What did you guys see in that final play?
Well, credit to West Jenny's defense right there. Just being able to hold off for that minute and 30 seconds of just shot after shot after shot.
Yeah, West Jenny did good. That was a good defensive stop. They needed that. West Jenny needed that. 5-4. They're down by 1 going into halftime, but Semino will find you. I feel like a broken record, but Semino will find you if you're open. He found crossfield. He found Ciscerelli open right on the doorstep. Ciscerelli hit the pipe.
Well, I believe all of us begin to feel a little bit like a broken record sometimes calling these games, but there's been a lot of chirping nonetheless. So we've been hearing some words repeated on the sidelines as well, and I think now would be a perfect time to go to our sideline reporter, Owen O'Keefe. Owen, what have you noticed for both teams? What are these chirps flying back and forth, and is it getting chippy down there at all?
Going on down here between both sides. It's really like the energy I love to see in a high school lacrosse game. Don't want to see some bad language though. Other than that, I'm sure these North Stars love that sophomore attack, and Mason Ciscerelli netting 3 straight for the North Stars. Give them that 5-4 lead, head into halftime. Almost gets his 4th one there as this time expires. I'm ready to see what the second half brings. Let's go back up to you guys.
And so am I. That was my sideline reporter, Owen O'Keefe, alongside me, Robert Bateman and Riley Kennedy, drawing all the analysis we've needed tonight, and we really needed it. I mean, it's been a back-and-forth game with 9 minutes ticking away until that second half. It's only a 5-4 ball game, and you're going to see that a lot with the CNS North Stars, now with a new head coach, Nick Gatto, residing from OCC, now making the change. He wants to go to high school lacrosse, and man, has he made the change. All of a sudden, we're competing with some nationally ranked, historically speaking, level squads with West Genesee, and man, it's been competitive back and forth. And as Owen mentioned, can't wait to get to that second half, and neither can we. Everything, all a buzz here in the studio. We'll be right back for that second half. Welcome back to Michael J. Bragman Stadium. It's still go time, and the North Stars leading 5-4 coming into the second half. And Riley, you stepped down in the stadium to speak to some of your former teammates and such, and you know everything's a buzz here in Michael J. Bragman Stadium. These guys excited to make some changes. What changes were they talking about, and what were these defensemen speaking about that they think they have to go figure out?
I got a chance to catch up with the defense and Heater and goal. They're not foreign to what's happening where these 4 goals have come from. They're coming on the doorstep. Huge face-off win. But they're coming from the doorstep. They know exactly they're going to switch up their defense. They're going to crash early, slide. Not even slide early, but just make sure that they're crashing. They know what they're doing. Had a chance to talk to Cimino and Martin. They know what to do on offense. They're going to move the ball and start it up here. And Cimino's going to get the ball on his stick and get it to anybody cutting.
And Riley, like you quickly mentioned there, huge face-off. Josh Kubala winning that face-off is almost a statement. I don't want to say statement again, but it really is, just because face-offs are massive in the game of lacrosse, as you and Kyle know, and winning that opening face-off of the second half is massive.
Absolutely. Quite the way to open it. Obviously, Josh Kubala had a lot of improvement to make in his previous game at the photo spot, but nonetheless, they put another goal away. Elijah Martin rolling to the left side.
Well, I just talked to Elijah Martin 2 minutes ago. And that's what he said. He said he's going to attack the goal hard. He says he's going to get the offense going, and that's exactly what he did right there.
And the offense just getting together to talk that one over, just because they scored in 44 seconds. Excuse me, 49 seconds. And scoring that quick, opening up with a big face-off from Josh Kubala, swinging around the net, and just finding Elijah Martin, who's able to cut inside.
Rob, you and I ready to just jump out of our chairs. I mean, these guys are starting red hot. Perhaps something to slow things down. West Genesee winning their first face-off of the second half. As you mentioned, Rob, good math skills right there. Only 49 seconds in. Josh Kubala getting the face-off and immediately out to Elijah Martin, who, as Riley Kennedy said, was planning on attacking the goal, and he put it away immediately. I mean, these boys are ready to go. Now West Genesee finally a chance to revert that last statement by the North Stars.
I want to see Rosa get involved too. I know he's got a hard matchup against Firth. I want to see him get involved, see if he can kind of move the defense. I mean, that's the game of lacrosse. Dodge, re-dodge, move the defense. See if they can move the defense right here.
Riley, it almost seems like Rosa is reluctant to hold the ball with Firth on him. He's received it a couple times and just really moved it quickly.
I wouldn't be – I'll tell you, Firth is one of the best defensemen in Section 3. He is. He's been playing since 8th grade. He's had so much experience. He has more experience than any other player on this field and sidelines.
Meanwhile, Joseph Green trying to make a statement on defense, but West Genesee will clean up the mess. Out to X. Look for that invert offense. That's Rosa throwing the ball away in the backfield.
I talked to Firth and Heater downstairs in the locker room, and they had mentioned that they only inverted once, and they had capitalized it down over here by the scoreboard. Firth picked up. He knew the invert was coming. They yelled dog. They got it there.
Meanwhile, quickly up the field is Nolan Firth. Now to Cimino. As mentioned before by Riley Kennedy, Cimino kind of the culprit for a quarter of the goals for CNS, as he's the man feeding all of them. So he leads the team in assists. Meanwhile, West Genesee making a statement on the smaller Ian Leahy. He maintains possession, creating some space now and out to the top.
And Kyle, Cimino, a guy with only 2 goals on the season because he scored earlier in this game, but he does so much on offense with the assists and just finding the open guy every single time.
Meanwhile, Mason Ciscerelli to the left side, finding the cutting man. Ooh, just over the top, some sticks clacking. And number 7, Mason Blakeman, trying to get there. Looks like they'll maintain possession.
That's the best thing that you can do when you see that alley dodge. If you think that you're beat, I mean, really on the alley dodge, you're just trying to get 1, 2 steps in, and all the sticks collapse right down on there on Ciscerelli.
Back and forth early, another shot ripped wide. So as the ball goes out of bounds, Owen O'Keefe, the energy is a buzz all over again down in the stadium, so we've really left off on a positive note, seeing us starting with that goal. What are you hearing down there?
Spoke with senior leader Anthony Smith before this half started. He said the key goal to this is just win the game, keep playing their game, keep that tempo. And then I spoke with Elijah Martin after that goal. He said, I quoted him saying, left him like Ginobili, stop playing with me. Back up to you guys. Let's keep going.
You got to love the energy down in the stadium. Some basketball quotes now. We're crossing the platforms of sports. But West Genesee with a chance quickly upfield.
And they're not taking first. Didn't want that one-on-one matchup on the outside.
Kyle, Riley, that's the second time we've seen West Jenny slow down on a fast break. It's amazing to see a team not capitalize when their number's up.
Well, as Riley mentioned, I mean, Nolan Firth, just such a dominant and intimidating figure in the defense of Section 3 lacrosse. And, I mean, he's just so well known at this point. These guys see number 14. They have to slow things down. Watch for the man coming behind for CNS. A heads-up play by number 20. But West Genesee will get away with it. Now to number 2. That's River Udamul. Trying to create some space. Now out to X for West Jenny. To the right side. Patrick Linton looking for some space, excuse me. To the top. That's Jack Mellon. Rolling to the inside. Man on the floor looking for some space. Left side.
Not the shot you want. That was forced. That was forced. When that happens, you see a 2-3 minute offensive possession, you kind of get mad. And you want that shot and you force it. That was a forced shot. That should have never happened.
You know, guys, sometimes when you see a player drop one of their defenders, they just get eager to shoot and score and, you know, get a highlight tape out of it. And I think that's exactly what we saw there.
That's
Absolutely.
Exactly what we saw.
That's a mentality you see in a lot of sports. You get a hold of a good pitch in baseball, you want to pimp it. You get the cross up in basketball, you want to really draw that one out and hit the shot. Right there, a little too eager to put that goal away.
Tanner Long just checked in for the first time today.
Tanner Long, a freshman on the squad, also a hockey player.
I like how Gatto rotates all these players in, tries to get everybody involved when he can.
Just a plethora of young athletes rotating in and out in the midfield for the North Stars as Mason Blakeman nearly puts a goal away, but some sticks.
I want to throw it back onto the West Jenny side. There had only been 4 guys to play in a varsity game.
Ooh, and Bryce Landry making an over-the-top save. Anthony Semino not so hesitant to try and put some goals away today, rolling backdoor on that left side of Landry, and he makes easy work of it.
Kyle, I'm happy to see Anthony Semino having more confidence in his shot. We don't really see him shoot a lot, but tonight he's been willing to fire. And I think if he keeps firing this season, this CNS offense just gets even more dangerous.
Here's the ride. They got it. They got it. Too long. They took too long to get in. This is the ride that we've been looking for all season.
Now some flags on the field, some stoppage time now. And you hear some arguments going back and forth. Now would be a perfect time to throw it down to our sideline reporter, Owen O'Keefe. Some words being chirped back and forth again. What are you hearing, Owen?
Team really upset that goal did not just count, unfortunately, for those North. So it looked like they were retained possession. A lot of smack talk both ways, but again, that's the game. That's the game of lacrosse. That's high school sports. Back up to you guys.
You gotta love Section 3 sports. Getting chippy here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium, West Genesee, a historically successful squad. Trying to make a statement early. They dropped their first few games. Their first one against FM at Fayetteville Manlius, 18-7, followed with a win against Liverpool, who struggled early on. But following that, 2 losses. They don't want to make it 3 in a row. Certainly a chance for them to try and bring themselves back up to 500 soon. But for now, really struggling to stay in this game is CNS, showing off the ball movement at the top.
And guys, it'd be criminal not to mention how well that ride worked out for CNS. It gives them momentum going into this offensive possession.
I want to see Mason Blakeman get involved too. Semino's going to find you on this man up. There it is.
Ooh, just ripped over.
2 very nice passes right there from Anthony Semino finding, who is that? Number 1, Elijah Martin and Mason Ciscerelli as well. Just finding them over the top and getting these open shots for CNS.
It was a good man up possession. West Jenny they were effective. They killed the man up. Man down, I should say, on their end.
Perhaps the turf a little bit slick tonight. Ian Leahy taking a slide, but right back up. He'll get it to the backfield. Now to X.
Mason
Ball bobbled
Ciscerelli's
again.
He's a dangerous, silent player. He's got 3 goals tonight. You don't really see him really initiating. There you go.
Ooh, and look at the stuff right there from number 7, Mason Blakeman.
It's crucial here if you're CNS not to foul. They've got him on the ride, which West Jenny just broke, but you don't want to foul there and give West Jenny another.
Now to the right side. Chance on top of the crease. Crossed over. Just put over the right side. Giovanni Heater manning his crease, and now he's tripping at his players. You cannot afford to let those guys in. The cutting man left wide open on that play.
And Nolan Firth with a massive hit right there.
Nolan Firth is certainly a brick wall. Riley, I'm sure you played a couple years with him. What is his mentality on the field as a defenseman, also knowing the size of his repertoire?
He's a guy I've played with a couple seasons. I mean, I've known him since he's been younger. His older brother Joel's here in the stadium watching him play, but he doesn't fear anything, and that's kind of the motive that kind of drives him, wakes him up every day to play the sport. He doesn't fear anything. He loves. You know what he says? He said pressure it's a key. It's like pressure. Having that pressure on you is nice to have, because not everybody gets that pressure to wake up with every day, and he has it. He's got to lead this team to a victory.
Meanwhile, a shot ripped to the left side. Gio couldn't handle it, bouncing into the back of the net, and all of a sudden, it's a 6-5 ball game. West Jenny clawing their way back.
Joseph Delaney with an absolute bullet right there. Up top at about the 25-yard line, just stepping into that shot and rifling it into the back of Giovanni Heater's net. Riley, what'd you see more of there?
Yeah, I just saw that he was open. He really had time and space, and he fired that. I mean, that's his second goal tonight. But 6-5 now by CNS. It was a good offensive play on that possession.
Simply put, an offensive effort in favor of the West Genesee Wildcats. Now look at Elijah Martin off the line at the midfield, trying to create some space for that face-off, but West Genesee will win it right off the bat. Ball bobble in the midfield. They'll pick it back up. Now out to the right side. Looking for X. Instead, they'll go back out to the top.
This is where it kind of gets dangerous. Number 2 and 3 for West Jenny coming on. 2 guys keying their offense. See if they attack quick.
You see Udumul and Mellon checking in with some pace.
This is a second line midfielder, or midfield lineup for them. See if their second lineup can get involved.
Trying to get some fresh legs. Shot bounced wide. West Genesee will maintain possession.
Now I take that back. Mellon has 3 goals, 1 assist on the season. He's been a contributor. I think the big thing with West Jenny is we don't really know who's going to step up. Here Mellon tries to take a dodge up here. We don't know who's going to score. Maybe Rosa. You don't know.
Just such a dangerous repertoire of attackmen. Now out to the top. There's Linton. Bouncing ball to the inside, back out. Number 2, Udumul fighting for it. To the top of the crease. Ball bouncing in the midfield. Tough to tell where it's going. Giovanni Heater even reaching out to get a stick on it. And now back out to the X. That's Jack Mellon cleaning up the play. Back out to the top. They elect to slow things down, try and get some movement going.
Linton wants it. Top up by the 35. He wants this ball. See if they swing it to him. One more. There he goes. Alley dodge right here, right-handed.
There you see it. Now to the top. And put into the back of the net again. Man, some sorcerer skills to my right. Riley Kennedy speaking the goal into existence. 2.5 to go, and it's all tied up.
Riley Kennedy right there, our third analyst. It's our first time having 3 guys in the booth, and it's a new thing we're trying to incorporate. And Riley with some magic right there, just predicting exactly what's going to happen. Riley, how did you know?
I could see him. I could see him kind of getting a little antsy when he had the ball. He wanted to take him. What it was he had Elijah Martin matched up on him. He thought that was a good matchup. Elijah Martin's their number 1 guy for a defensive midfielder on CNS. He liked the matchup he took that alley dodge. He beat him, had 1-2 steps in front of him. He had time and shot it. And it was a bounce shot. Those are one of the hardest, and it was cross cage on Gio. So right-handed goalie or right-handed shooters live for a left-handed goalie like that, because we're normally used to seeing a right-handed goalie shoot cross cage.
Man, Riley, you really spoke that one into existence. Now a timeout for the Wildcats. Sean Smith electing to talk things over with the game and his momentum now. What things do you think he'll have to change or really continue in order to keep this press forward and the momentum in the favor of the Wildcats, Riley?
Win this face-off. Win this face-off at the X, and you had the momentum. Linton just scored. Second goal of the game. You get the momentum here from X, and that really deteriorates the CNS defense. 2.5 minutes. They'll get it, try to burn around 30 seconds, and they're going to go. Linton's going to want the ball again. Now, I don't know if I could predict that again, but Linton's going to want the ball. Let's see if he can get it involved here.
Rob, as Riley mentioned, that face-off certainly going to be important coming off of that timeout for Sean Smith, trying to maintain all of this stuff. Right now, it looks like it's just been tough for some of the face-offs, but Kubala's looked better than ever, really. Ever since Aiden Long came out in that FM game, their Fogos have been important. Those face-offs have been pivotal, and they've been a little bit better tonight. Josh Kubala's looked fantastic, really, at his face-offs, almost splitting it 50-50, so it's been super competitive. How pivotal do you think this face-off here is going to be, and following that, what the Wildcats choose to do with the ball, and what you think the North Stars will have to do in order to respond defensively, Rob?
Well, Kyle, with a game tied up 6-6 like this, having possession is massive, especially since we're getting late into the third quarter. Only one quarter left to play. You really need to just have possession of the ball and really work your way around the field.
Now West Genesee, time to start it off. Some new numbers on the field, but Patrick Linton still the familiar face of this offense, including Alex Rosa. To the right side, same spot that Linton elected to shoot down that alley and put the ball away last time. Again, out to the near the top of the crease. Turning around, and he fires it to the back of the net. How many times are they going to do it with velocity this time? All of a sudden, a 3-goal swing. Jenny leads 7-6 with 2 to go here in the third quarter.
That's Louise's first goal on the season. Or not first one season, I'm sorry, first goal tonight. And I knew that was coming. He rolled right up to the 20-yard line, turned back and shot that ball. He had time. He had time to shoot that. No, it was just a good offensive segment. There you go. 30 seconds. That's what I said. Around 30 seconds, you're going to try to attack the goal, and that's exactly what they did. 7-6.
Nick Louise, one of the captains of this team, really taking over right there and making a big play for West Jenny.
And some more action in the midfield, a flag flying. You hear this crowd really chirping here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium, really encompassing the vibrations that we need to hear, and now everyone's kind of energetic here.
Kyle, it's great you mention it. The players are now able to bring 4 fans per kid, and with 28 guys for CNS and 34 for West Jenny, the stadium looks a lot more filled, which we haven't seen in a long time, and it's just great to have fans back in the stadium.
Really just quite the story developing here in Central New York nonetheless. Boys lacrosse, the only sport thus far to relegate the entire idea of testing for COVID. So many parents and teammates have complained about, being vaccinated and how safe they feel that, now the need of tests have kind of left the building. And so quite the story developing here again in Central New York, these guys free of all the tests. And I think, as we see this pandemic starting to slow down, I hate to make things political or about the pandemic. I think the energy is really picked up here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium. As you mentioned, Rob, with 4 guests, per athlete. It's a much fuller stadium than usual today. Now to X.
Be careful on Gio's left side.
Patrick Linton back out to Alex Rosa. Now to the right side. Still rotating, using that triangle around that X.
I want Kubala for CNS to press out. He's going to shoot it. He has room.
Kubala, a big guy, not so fleet-footed sometimes, but certainly looked very fleet-footed thus far in his face-offs. But there you see the pressure. And, man, they are rolling right now. Speak of the devil, the Wildcats just continue to press. 8-6 lead, 1:16 to go here in the third quarter.
Kyle, Nick Louise with back-to-back goals here, just swinging that one down low. He goes high for the first, down low for the second, really just painting the corners of the net here. And he gives West Jenny a 2-goal lead going into the end of this third quarter. And with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to play in the third, West Jenny takes a timeout. They come out of that timeout and they score 2 goals very quickly with 1 minute and 16 seconds left on the clock. I'm very curious to see what CNS brings and changes to their offense and their defense.
This is key. So Elijah Martin got called for a 2-minute unreleasable penalty. West Jenny has as much time within 2 minutes to score as many goals as they can. This is why the momentum is changing. CNS defense has to stand up being man down with this 2-minute releasable, which is going to expire pretty soon.
With that man down, it's evident this 4-goal swing is certainly in the Wildcats' favor. I mean, just a second ago, I felt like the North Stars were up 4, and man, the Wildcats with such pace have just found their way all the way back.
It's very similar to the start of the game, Kyle. We saw CNS go up 2-0, and then they start to lose the lead, end up going down and having to fight their way back to just get in front. And now we're seeing the tides turn again with West Jenny just taking charge of the game and starting to find the back of the net.
Watch out on Tree right now. He's been popping open a little bit. Number 2 on for West Jenny.
Certainly one of the players on the field. He's fleet-footed to say lead for now. Alex Rosa and company continue to move around.
As long as the guy in the crease moves, that was key.
And a fight for the ball in the backfield. And Nolan Firth, who else but Nolan Firth, to clean it up as time expires. So 1 quarter to go. The Wildcats with momentum in their favor, but a defensive stand for the North Stars. It's a 2-goal lead, 8-6. Jenny up. As I mentioned, 12 minutes to go, and man, has it been exciting those last few minutes. Now with Mason Ciscerelli coming back into the game, do you think the momentum can swing back into the favor of the North Stars, Riley?
I do. The 2-minute unreleasable penalty has been lifted after this quarter. 12 minutes left to go. It's full strength for CNS. It starts at the X with the face-off X. So they got to win the face-off first, and I think their offense is fine. I think what really hurt them was Elijah Martin's 2-minute unreleasable penalty. Now that it's full strength, I look for CNS to get right back in this ball game. I don't see anybody on West Jenny really trying to. It was that man-up opportunity that was so key for West Jenny to get back in this game.
I mean, to say the least, obviously a 4-goal swing. Obviously something had to happen in order for that to occur. Very pivotal moment for the Wildcats. And now with Ciscerelli out of that suspension, 10 goals, 4 assists coming into this game. Rob, how pivotal do you find Ciscerelli's presence to be now that he's going to be back on the field for the North Stars on attack?
Well, Mason's a guy who can just score left and right. He always is finding the back of the net. And, you know, he contributes on the passing side of things too with 4 assists. But 10 goals really the main thing you want to look at. And he just really does a great job at finding the open guy, finding the back of the net, really moving the offense, making guys slide, finding open people after the slide. He just does a great job at keeping the ball for CNS and making things dangerous attacking the net.
And before this quarter opens, now would be a perfect time to throw it down briefly to our sideline reporter, Owen O'Keefe. Owen, what are you noticing?
Well, I talked with defender Caleb Martin, and he said that their key to getting back in this game is getting the get-backs when they're on the defensive side. As you see, West Jenny got 4 unanswered goals, and I spoke to Elijah Martin after that 2-minute unreleasable cross-check flag, and he was very, very upset. So was the coach, head coach Nick Gatto. Very upset with that call. Let's see if this North Stars can close this game out and come out with a W here. Send it back up to you guys.
Owen O'Keefe with some pivotal information right there. Obviously, those get-backs are going to be pivotal, to say the least. Paramount, really, to the possession time that the North Stars will need. Now back out to the top. Mazzoli will slow things down with Mike Kohler rolling out to the right side. To the inside, and not afraid to get those shots off quick. The North Stars will maintain possession.
And Kyle, Mason Blakeman, number 7, a guy who, when we talked to Coach Sean Smith from West Jenny, he said, we really got to worry about for that number 7 Blakeman on the offense. And he's really been quiet tonight. So I'm kind of starting to think that West Jenny's plan coming into this defensive possession, and really the defense the whole game, was to just quiet Mason Blakeman and not let him fire shots on the cage.
Mason Ciscerelli just tried to do a question mark dodge. If anybody doesn't know what a question mark dodge is you come up. So he came up left-handed. He was going to quickly roll right-handed. Someone's injured in the back end of the end zone.
And this crowd really starting to roar. Finally, that West Genesee player gets up in the backfield. He got hit hard from behind. Mason Ciscerelli, not from behind, excuse me. Mason Ciscerelli showing the physicality, though, in that backfield. And finally, he'll get back up. And Elijah Martin checking in for the North Stars. Man, this crowd is just absolutely electric here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium.
Coach Nick Gatto very frustrated there wasn't an offsides call there. He thought Elijah Martin got one of those players to jump that he spun through.
And some more whistles. Another stoppage of play. A West Genesee man goes down.
Yeah, if I was Leahy, I wouldn't have. Leahy took a long pull. The long stick midi, I wouldn't have done that on that possession. I would have moved it. See your matchups, short stick on short sticks, what you're looking for, unless you like that long stick matchup.
And meanwhile, number 7 for the Wildcats, Patrick Linton, getting the ball upfield. And that last pass is bobbled. And now R.J. Davis with the fast break. He has some speed. Rob and I know that for sure. Let's see if he can get things going for the North Stars.
Credit to Joe Green there, doing a great job on the defensive side of things, just working his way down low and hitting the bobble from West Jenny to get things going on offense for CNS.
Now at the top, that's Mike Kohler. He's getting plenty of minutes tonight, alongside Tyler Mazzoli, too. Mazzoli trying to make a play happen. Right side, and a shot! Move. What a move, as Riley said, over the top. Tyler Mazzoli, about 6'2", 160 pounds, and using the height right there.
Yeah, he really did. He went north to south with his dodge. He went straight downhill, but he bounced off. He used that defender. His defender fell on him. He pushed off. He separated perfectly.